Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into a case that's honestly just baffling. It's this unsolved murder, happened years back, Las Vegas hotel room. The story comes from some true crime discussion notes you actually shared with us. And our mission, well, it's pretty straightforward. Unpack the really strange, almost impossible facts around this death. And try to figure out why, with all these weird clues, it's still a total mystery. No suspects. Zero.
It really is. It's a case defined by what isn't there, you know? A disturbing lack of physical evidence, total silence on the motive. That's what makes it so unsettling.
Okay, let's dive in. The victim was Alyssa Trevors. She was 32, a freelance photographer based out of Portland, Oregon.
Right. And the scene? The El Royale Hotel, it's actually kind of on the outskirts of Vegas. This was back on March 17th, 2016. She checked into room 726.
And what's interesting, right from the get-go, the notes mention security footage. Shows her arriving alone. She looks completely calm, like no distress at all. Walks in, checks in normally, gets her key, goes straight to her room. Nothing seems off.
And then, just silence. The notes really highlight this bit. Nobody saw her leave that room, not for the next 3 days. No room service calls, no cleaning staff went in, and her key card, which logs every entry, exit, showed nothing, zero activity. It's like she just vanished inside room 726.
So how did they find her then?
Well, only when checkout time passed and her key card was still showing inactive. That's when hotel staff finally went to check on the room.
And that's when they found her.
That's the discovery. Found her in the bathtub, fully clothed. And here's where it gets really, really strange. The initial look at the scene. No visible signs of trauma at all. No blood, no sign of any struggle. It looked, well, oddly peaceful, serene almost, which, you know, finding a body that just doesn't fit.
Wait, hang on. No signs of a fight, no trauma in a hotel room. That's already pretty weird. But the note said something even stranger about the room itself, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. This might be the most confounding detail of the whole thing. The door to her room, locked from the inside. And the security chain, the little metal one, still latched, in place. All the windows were closed, none were broken. It creates this, like, perfect locked room paradox. There was just no obvious way someone else could have gotten in or out after she went in and presumably locked it.
Okay, so a peaceful scene, looks like, but locked from the inside. You'd almost think, I don't know, natural causes, maybe? Something like that. But the notes say that wasn't it at all. What did the autopsy actually find?
Yeah, the cause of death was, well, incredibly shocking, especially given that scene. Alyssa had been poisoned. And not just any poison, it was a Brin.
Abrin. I think I've heard of that. Isn't that, like, super rare and deadly? Where does that even come from?
It comes from the rosary pea plant. And you're absolutely right. It's extremely lethal, notoriously hard to trace after a while, and it is nearly impossible to just get your hands on. This isn't something you find lying around.
Wow. So, locked room, no sign of entry, and a really rare, hard-to-get poison. That completely flips the script. What else did the investigators turn up?
Well, another layer of just complexity came from her digital stuff, or the lack of it. Her phone, wiped, completely clean. Hotel Wi-Fi logs showed she connected, like, briefly when she arrived, but zero browsing history left behind. Nothing. It's as if any digital footprint from those days was deliberately erased.
Okay, so the physical evidence in the room points to maybe suicide. But the Abrin makes that seem unlikely, right? It's not easy to use on yourself.
Yeah.
Or this impossible locked room thing. And the digital trail points to a deliberate cleanup. What about her life? When they looked into her, was there any obvious reason, any motive?
And that's just another frustrating piece of this whole puzzle. According to the notes, investigators found basically nothing. No obvious enemies, no big financial problems, no drug use, no messy breakups recently. Friends said she was stable, driven, careful. Didn't seem like she was living the kind of life that ends like this. So violent, so complex.
Okay, but this is where it gets really interesting. There was one clue mentioned in the notes, called her life, that seems totally critical now, doesn't it?
Yes. A really chilling detail. About a month before this Vegas trip, she told her sister something. She mentioned she was photographing something strange up in Washington State, something she wasn't quite ready to talk about yet. And then she added this incredibly ominous line, "If anything happens to me, check my camera."
Wow, check my camera. Okay, so what does this all mean when you put it together? Locked room, rare poison, wiped data, no clear motive in her personal life, And then this statement, linking her own safety to her camera and whatever she was shooting.
Exactly. And if you connect all those dots, the massive missing piece becomes glaringly obvious. The camera itself was gone. It wasn't in the room. Not in her bags.
Right.
Not in her car parked downstairs. It just vanished from a room that was otherwise secured from the inside.
It's such a bizarre mix of facts. Only her fingerprints found in the room, no forced entry, this super unusual deadly poison, her data, gone. And the missing camera tied to some mysterious project she called strange. What do the main theories discussed in the source notes suggest might have happened?
Well, given the method, right? The rare poison that suggests access or planning, the white data, the cleanup, and crucially, getting that camera out of a locked room. The theories strongly lean towards this not being random at all. It suggests she probably stumbled onto something really significant while she was photographing. Maybe, illegal activity or something even darker. And the way she was killed seems so calculated, designed to be untraceable, or at least incredibly confusing, aimed not just at silencing her, but specifically at getting whatever evidence was on that camera.
And what's so maddening and why this case really sticks with you, the listener, is that despite all these strange, specific clues pointing somewhere, no suspect has ever been named. Ever. The person who did this is still completely unknown years later.
It absolutely raises that huge question. How could someone pull this off? Get into a room locked and chained from the inside, use a rare poison, clean up the digital tracks, leave with one specific item, and leave zero forensic trace of themselves behind. It's mind-boggling.
So why does this case resonate so much? I think that's that chilling idea that someone could just be eliminated so quietly, so completely, their story, whatever they found out, potentially just vanishing with them, even in a totally ordinary place like a hotel room in a busy city like Vegas.
It really makes you wonder about the secrets people keep and the, frankly, terrifying length some might go to protect those secrets.
So just to quickly recap this deep dive then, we've got the baffling locked room, the incredibly rare poison of Bren, and the missing camera directly linked to some mysterious project she's working on. The core unanswered questions are still hanging there. What was Alyssa Trevors photographing that was so sensitive it got her killed? And where is that camera now?
And the biggest puzzle, the one that feels almost impossible, in a room locked and chained from the inside. How did the killer get in, do what they did, grab the camera, and leave without a single trace, without disturbing that inside lock?
In a city like Vegas, famous for all the noise, the spectacle, the bright lights, maybe the most disturbing stories are actually the quietest ones. The ones that happen behind a locked door, no witnesses, leaving just silence, impossible facts, and these massive unanswered questions. What hidden things might be right there just beneath the surface waiting to be found that we don't even realize exist?